Week 1 at Cincinnati. In the NBA, Benedict Mathurin has agreed to a 2-year, $16 million deal with the New Orleans Pelicans. In tennis, Serena and Venus Williams have received a wild card to play doubles at the U.S. Open. Right now in Major League Baseball, the Reds and the Giants are tied at 2, bottom of the 4th inning. Phillies shutting out the Mariners 6-0, bottom of the 3rd inning. I'm Monty Bolaños.
Broadcasting live from the KGSO studios in West Wichita.
I feel more informed when I listen.
This is the Press Box on Wichita's sports station, KGSO.
The Press Box on KGSO.
It's the middle of the week, Wichita. How we doing? On 1410 93.9 KGSO, this is the Press Box. Here in the Renewal by Anderson Studios. Expert installation done right on schedule. Jacob Zimmerman. Sasha Bushka. Give us a call on the Maximum Outdoor Equipment phone lines, 316-522-1410. Drop your comments on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. And we got the SC Wichita app as well as KGSO.com. Here's the rundown. The Shockers have made a tweak to the coaching staff with men's basketball. We'll tell you about the promotion to new assistant. Also going to go through the Royals' 9-game win streak up in Canada. You heard my sports report. They got it done 5-3 over the Blue Jays. We'll discuss that just briefly. I do want to talk a little bit because I heard there's going to be what's called Cat Chat starting with Colin Klein. I know there's Hawk Talk with Lance Leipold and various KU coaches. I just want to have a discussion about that as well. Maybe first segment, we're going to talk Cody Alexander from MatchQuarters.com, high-level defensive football expert. We're going to pick his brain on a couple of topics here coming up in about 25 minutes. The SEC ruling. Will we see Daquan Wright play LSU? Maybe not so fast as the SEC is putting in some regulations for this. It is going to be our first day of the Big 12 previews. We're going to do the 2 Arizona schools. We'll do big deal, no big deal as well. Second hour should be a good show. Sasha, what's up, man?
Fired up, man. Hump day. Let's go. We got Cody Alexander today. Second segment, like you mentioned, always one of my favorite segments of the week. Exciting stuff there. Big 12. It's taking a little bit longer to get to football season than normal, but Big 12's right around the corner, so I'm excited to get these previews going as well.
I feel like when we have Cody on and you bring some glasses in and you have some sort of clicker, ready to watch some film, go through and kind of just get nerdy about football. So if you like the sound of that, stay tuned in about 20 minutes or so. But let's start things off with the news here as it relates to Shocker men's basketball in Wichita. Dusan Vicentic has been promoted by Coach Paul Mills from grad assistant to assistant coach. It did come with a departure of an assistant coach as well earlier this summer, which we'll get to. But here's a quote I'll read from GoShockers.com. Dusan has made an immediate impact on our program since he arrived here a year ago. He was exceptional in his player development role for us last season, says Mills. He will continue to improve in that role. He brings a modern approach to the game on both sides of the ball. He gets stuff done at a high level and with an energetic demeanor. I'm excited about Dusan and the value he adds. So, look, I think this is pretty exciting for WSU. Of course, we don't really see or hear from assistants a ton when it comes to college basketball, right? They're sitting next to Paul Mills on the sideline. Every once in a while, maybe they make some media appearances, but usually they're kind of behind closed doors. They're working with these guys with player development. They're talking strategy with Paul Mills. So, another assistant to have who you feel like, hey, in 1 year already has impressed us enough to we're going to give him a call up and change his title from grad assistant, now assistant coach. I think it says that he's doing a great job so far at WSU.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good part of the coaching staff, right? He was there as a grad assistant last year, and one thing about Vicentich is he's not too far removed from his playing days, right? He played professionally right before he came here to be a grad assistant, and so he can still get out on the court and chop it up with guys, and that helps him in the player development, I think, kind of showing them what he's trying to teach them. And he was a good player in his own right. So I'm excited about Dusan getting this opportunity here. And obviously you have kind of like the mainstays at the assistant coach spots. And Lehman, they lost over the summer, who Dusan kind of replaces. But you've still got Kenton Paulino, Josh Eilert, PJ Cousinard, Xavier Holland. And it's been pretty good continuity from last year to this year in terms of the coaching staff, which you love to see going into a year where you have a lot of continuity with the players.
And I know it's kind of an ongoing joke. Like there's a ton of white shirts sitting there at the end of the bench, but each one of these guys has a key contribution to the program and the men's basketball success there at Wichita State University. This is where I would love to sort of peel back the layers, right? Open up the book and figure out, like, okay, what does Vicentich, like, what does he specifically bring? When we're watching Shocker men's basketball, if you could then, see, like, set by set, possession by possession, who has their hands and fingertips all over this, right? Which plays have been designed from the assistant coaching staff? Which players are working specifically with certain assistants? Like, I would kind of love to get that insight. I know some of it you kind of intentionally keep behind closed doors. You don't want to necessarily have, the rest of the conference know, hey, this is our genius here dialing up these certain sets that are working. But it's one of those high-level basketball brainstorming exercises I like to do. Maybe think of who on the bench is really responsible for each thing I'm seeing out there on the floor.
And to that point, in a previous era of college Shocker basketball, they split up the scouts by games. Every third game, there's 3 assistant coaches, and each one of them had a specific game that they scouted for and did the game plan for, and it rotated through the season. And it was public information, like who. Not that a lot of people were going out like looking for who was the scout this game, but the head coach would say, like, so and so had the scout this game, right? Forbes had the scout this game, or whoever it may be, and so. I think that was kind of fun, right? Because you could kind of see, okay, these are the games that this assistant coach scouted, whether it was Steve Forbes or otherwise, and this is how we looked in those games. And so that was kind of fun to know. I don't see a lot of coaching staffs across the country doing it that way or telling people what they're doing behind the scenes that way, but it is something that we've seen in the past.
If you pull up the list of all 30 NBA coaches right now, you'd be surprised at just how many are foreign guys, right, who have coached and then played on different levels, who come from overseas. I do think what we're starting to see is basketball is truly a worldwide game. And I think maybe a little bit of time the United States was ever so slightly stubborn with kind of bringing in that knowledge from across the pond. But as the generations have moved along, I think we're taking more and more advice from the Europeans on how we can perfect the game of basketball. And for a guy who was playing overseas in Greece just so recently in the 2024 season, in the 2025 season as well, we're talking about like a year and a half removed from pro basketball. Like, I think he's going to be able to bring in fresh ideas to the table.
Yeah, and listen, from a player development standpoint, the European basketball has proved to be a little bit ahead of American basketball in terms of skill development. And so to have a guy with that kind of that background as your player development coach, I think helps, right? Developing skills of the players. And I think there's a little bit of a reason for that, right? America had basketball first, right? And all the good players came from the U.S. And I think when a sport comes to your country and it's new, you see it from a new set of eyeballs, a new lens of, okay, what are the ways? This is the way they do it in the U.S. We might not have the athleticism. What are other ways we can get ahead in this game? And especially like when you look at it at the Olympic level, you're
Serbia,
trying to like
Spain.
you're going to look at the dream team and you're going to say we're never going to compete with that from a basketball athleticism standpoint. What can we do on the international stage to compete with that in other ways? And that went down into their player development, and you came out with a lot of really skilled players. So I think it's an interesting dynamic in the world of basketball right now.
Dusan Vicente getting the upgrade from grad assistant to assistant coach there. We'll be seeing him on the sideline right there on the bench with Coach Paul Mills for the 2027 season that starts, by the way, in just a little over 2 frickin' months. All right, so let's change gears here for a little bit. I think pretty much with every win that we see, we're going to be talking about these guys a little bit in the start of the show, and that is the Kansas City Royals, who made it 9 in a row.
Yeah, officially the hottest team in baseball now because the Phillies are on a 2-game losing streak now, so that is the longest win streak in baseball, and you have to give them credit for what they're doing on the field, but also it's annoying, right? Because we can't argue with ourselves about whether they have a chance to make the playoffs. Like if they make it, I'll eat my words, right? But 0.1% is 0.1%. And so basically you have a group of guys who did nothing all year, and then when they were completely eliminated and had no chance, they started just winning every single game. And so that should be, it's simultaneously really exciting to watch and very frustrating for fans because, yeah, it's fun to watch 9 wins in a row, but when you know they're absolutely meaningless, it's like, why did you wait to go 24 games under 500 to play this kind of baseball?
Right. I think it's 70% frustrating, 30% excitement for the future. And kind of as Michaela said this yesterday, I had joked about it back on Monday. It's like, how many seasons in a row are we going to say that, late in the year we're coming on strong and that's going to be momentum. That's exciting for the fan base. Like you start to sound like a broken record. Here's why this team is so disappointing. I'm seeing a stat out there. The Royals, if they won just 1/3, just 33% of the games that they lost in the 8th inning or later this season, they'd currently own a playoff spot. Also, if they just have held on, if they would have held on to all their 9th inning leads this year, they'd have a playoff spot. A bad bullpen can be the biggest difference.
That's a scary statistic for sure. And I do wonder one thing, and we'll get to this call. It was a World Baseball Classic year, and it seemed like the Royals had a lot of injury problems early in the season, which accounted for some of their slow start. And the Royals had a lot of guys play in the World Baseball Classic this year. Across
Salvi.
a bunch of different countries. Yeah, Pasquantino on Italy. There was a bunch of them across a lot of different countries. So I wonder if that was a factor at all, but every team had to deal with that.
Okay, let's take the call here on the Maximum Outdoor. Come in phone lines. You're inside the press box. What's up?
Hey, it's good to be in the press box, and I want to say that looking at you guys yesterday, looking at you guys and hearing the sound quality, that was a quadruple plus sound quality on your Twitch channel. So I want to.
Are you
being
being sarcastic? Did something happen?
No, I'm not being sarcastic. Let me finish. I'm the one that got the flow here. I'm saying something good. You might want to listen to this.
I'll tune in.
So to all the listeners that haven't checked out the KGSO Press Box Twitch channel, you need to download that app ASAP.
Let's go.
And listen to a good, crystal clear quality sound. Matter of fact, I was playing through my stereo in my car anyway, but it sounded better than the radio broadcast. So I want to give whoever y'all's team their flowers for presenting such a crystal clear sound. So no, there was no sarcasm, nothing but flowers to give. So y'all need to hear that, because if y'all don't hear that from nobody else, y'all heard it from me. So
all right.
I want to be known, and the listeners need to get on board. Now,
are you seeing this Royals streak? Let's go.
You know what? I've seen this song and dance before, and then they pop up with a World Series in 2015 or something like that. Then they vanish. I would take the Royals serious, even if they didn't make the World Series, but they were a contention, to make a playoff run. Let's say like the Atlanta Braves. A lot of people say I think the Atlanta Braves had won the World Series, and then people were saying it was a fraud. But I'm like, no, because they're always in the mix. This was some years ago, too, when they had some teams smoking. As a matter of fact, some of their players came back and played for the Kansas All-Stars when they was playing in the NBC at the old stadium downtown there. But if they were on level to where, they make a World Series every now and then, but be in playoff contention every year, make the playoffs, even if they bowed out. But I've seen this play out so many times. They're out of it, and then they go on one of these losing streaks, and then you're thinking, well, hey, if they keep this player, keep that player, build around, this team could be a dominant team. But, haven't seen it until they could put something together on a consistent basis. Why would you believe in the Royals? Now, I know you guys talk about the Royals a lot. Y'all talk about some interesting pieces, but the Royals also had the moniker of being the farm club for Major League Baseball. My question is, are they going back to that again? Because at some point, they're going to be talking about, well, we need to get something for this player so we can build around. But you know what? It never happens. So until they can put a consistent winner on the field, this is going to be the norm. Wait till they're out of it, put together a 9-game win streak, get people's hopes up, only to have their dreams crushed. So I'm just being real about it and not being flaky. I'm just being real. I hate to be that real, but it is what it is. This time and time and time again. Because the Royals, I will say this, is the one team that can reel me back into baseball. So on that note, you guys have a wonderful Wednesday.
Thanks,
Good
Anthony.
stuff.
Appreciate it. And what Anthony's alluding to there is like a version of a would you rather that we tend to do, right? Which is, would you rather have a team that's competitive every single year, not win a championship, or a team that wins one championship and kind of stinks the rest of the time? It's would you rather have the Braves of the 90s or the Royals of the last 15 years? And like being a Royals fan and watching this play out, they're lucky they won that World Series in 2015 because if it wasn't for that, they've been awful for 40 straight years. And if all they did was like go to the playoffs in 2015 and they came up short, and listen, there's some luck involved with winning a World Series. And so if they wouldn't have paid it off in that 2-year stretch of being good, then we'd be saying the Royals are the worst franchise in baseball since 1985. And for those reasons, I'm out, right? For those reasons, I'm out. They got lucky that they had that one glimpse and they actually paid it off. But I'd rather have a team that's in contention year after year, and then maybe one year you get a World Series championship.
I mean, even when this team won it way back in '85, they only won 56% of their games, Sasha. I'm going through all of the Royals' history. I'm only seeing one season where they won over 60% of their games, and that's back in 1977. They lost in the ALCS that year, but you have this, brutal stretch, I would say, post-2000, where other than, 23 and 24, you can only scrap a handful of winning seasons. I mean, you had 3 in a row from 2013 to 2015. You went even 500 in 2016. It's been downhill ever since. And look, you thought we were on the come up in 2024, making the postseason, and since then we're back on the way down. So I think Quatrero needs to go. And yeah, I do think the Royals win streak is kind of bringing more frustration than enjoyment out of the fan base right now. But you have some pitchers who are coming on strong. I know Dobnak's getting the start, and he's been hot the last 2 months. So if he keeps it tonight, maybe this win streak does get to 11 if we sweep this series against the Blue Jays. So, yeah, it's a tough thought there with Kansas City. Appreciate the call, 522-1410. Before the segment's wrapped up, I did want to talk about this as well. And we could sort of, tie this to Wichita State, but I'm seeing here on KStateSports.com, we're going to be hearing a lot of Colin Klein this year because of his debut episode that starts this week. Tonight, I believe. I think this is going to be a weekly series that they do, hosted by the voice of the Wildcats, Wyatt Thomas, who makes frequent appearances, of course, in the morning. You guys hear him with Doug Downs and the game plan. Look, Cat Chat is what they're going to call this. Cat Chat, and I immediately thought, okay, is this a response? Is it like a play on words? Because we know the Jayhawks do the Hawk Talk, right? There's like a Hawk Talk sit down, and I was watching some some audio clips, or not watching, but listening to some audio clips from Lance Leipold today from that recent discussion. I know they had Bill Self on a couple weeks back. What do you think of the cat chat, the hawk talk? I think it's cool that we're in an era where there's a little bit more transparency with these coaches, but you can maybe also spin it as, like, is that taking away time from what these coaches could be doing interview-wise with other folks?
No, listen, I think, like, people want to hear from the coaches, right? It gives a relaxed atmosphere. It gives kind of a consistent basis of, I know, like, this time, this week, every week, I'm gonna see what happened the week before, what's coming up the next week. So, yeah, I think coaches shows like this have been going on for a very long time. And most of the time, I don't know this for sure, but like in Paul Mills' contract, it's written in there, right? You do this show every week. And so it's probably in all these contracts you get a certain like stipend, a certain extra amount of money to do these shows, and they put them together with some partners. And I think Cat Chat's kind of an interesting name. But I'll be excited to see what Colin Klein has to say throughout the season.
Oh, Cat Chat, baby. Let's go. I think Colin Klein's going to be interesting. I'm kind of reading here they might mix up the guests, have on various coaches and athletes throughout the seasons. But I do think all in all, this is cool to see. And I know that you had the Ball Mills Coaches Show last season. I expect that, yes, contractually to be back again here for the upcoming season. But just to get that transparency is nice. I know it is a little bit structured. I think the coaches probably know beforehand what kind of questions they get. Usually it's with, a host that is, working with the university directly. And so the questions aren't going to necessarily get too controversial. But I know in Lance Leipold's that I was listening to earlier today, from maybe a few days back, he was telling the host jokingly, he's like, hey, I don't know if you know this, but we don't have a quarterback yet. We don't have a quarterback decided for week 1 coming up next Friday.
And I don't think like tough questions are the idea behind these things, right? That's what press conferences are for. And so I don't have a problem. I wouldn't expect a coach to sit down for an hour-long sit-down once a week and get peppered with tough questions. So otherwise they just wouldn't do it. So I think it's all fair.
All right, looking to have Cody Alexander on from Match Quarters here next segment. But we do want to keep spreading the word about the 21st annual high school football guide that's made its way once again to South Central Kansas for the upcoming 2026 high school football season. This magazine, we have been hitting the streets, dropping this off all over our sponsor locations. And this is not only a great way to get all cued in on what's going to be going on with your favorite team, as well as 63 other high school football teams, previews, 200-word previews for each team. You got the schedule, you got your coach, your classification. This is a must-have for the upcoming year if you're going to be checking out the Friday Night Lights or, of course, listening here on this station or 1480 KQAM for our 2 Game of the Weeks every single week. So, what's great about the high school football guide? You can read some of these previews. Sasha, I'm checking out Hutchinson, Salina South. If you're looking to pick up your guide and you are in support of one of those teams, check out Yoder Meats. Maybe you're rooting on the Hornets of Valley Center this year. Maybe the Trojans of Andover. Pick up your high school football guide. Halstead Bank. You got Valley Print Logistics. Lawn Care from Double JW. These guys are all supporting sponsors of local sports. Maximum Outdoor Equipment Service as well, just to name a couple of businesses here in part of support with the high school football guide. We'll step aside, Cody Alexander, talk some football, maybe some college, maybe some pro. We'll have a blast with this thing, man. Got a new coach at WSU, Royals on a win streak, college podcasts, lots happening, but we're waiting for the results, Sasha. Week 0, college football this weekend.
Yeah, fired up.
Yeah, do it. All right, we'll be back here. Don't touch the dial.
Call the Press Box now on the Maximum Outdoor Equipment phone lines at 522-1410.
The Press Box on KGSO.
40 to the 30. The Burners are on.
High school football season is here. And it's time for you to pick up a copy of the High School Football Guide from the Mid-America Sports Network. Keep track of your favorite teams as they fight their way to the state championships. Find a copy of your High School Football Guide.
In Medicine Lodge, House Holter Accounting and Pristine Water. In Pratt, ATC Accounting, Legacy Bank, and Cooper Tire of Pratt. And in Sedgwick, Legacy Bank and the Hoof and Horn Supper Club.
Fall is rapidly approaching, and the ideal time to core aerate and seed a fescue lawn is September 1st through mid-October. Let the professionals at Meadowlark Landscape and Design give you an honest assessment of your lawn and its needs. They offer core aeration, overseeding, and dethatching services. Call them today, 316-880-0227, 316-880-0227, and get on their schedule for this fall. It's Meadowlark Landscape and Design, the trusted partner of Steckline Communications.
Nobody wins Friday night alone. It takes a team. Every player, every position, working together toward one goal. Renewal by Anderson believes in that same teamwork. Our design team, our craftsmen, and our installers, all working together to get your windows and doors right. Because a great result isn't one person's job, it's a whole team's. Renewal by Anderson, proud supporter of Wichita area Friday Night Lights, where teamwork wins.
When you look for a place to learn, train, and grow, you need something that fits your life. At Butler Community College, we want you to reach your goals in the most affordable way possible. That's why we keep our tuition rates among the lowest in the state. It's why we offer hundreds of scholarship opportunities, equaling more than $3 million annually for pursuing your passion. And it's why we provide a professional higher education at a lower price tag. Butler Community College. Fall classes start soon. Enroll now.
Are you in need of a new dentist? Check out 316 Dental at 13th and West Street. 316 Dental is now offering same-day services with the addition of a second dentist. That's right, same day. The hardworking team includes 4 hygienists and stays open late to fit your schedule. 316 Dental accepts most major insurance companies. Ask them about their new patient special that includes a comprehensive exam and x-rays. They also offer implants and Invisalign.
Care that soars above and beyond. 316 Dental.
Back to school starts now. Get long-lasting battery life on the Dell XPS laptop powered by Series 3 Intel Core so you can work from anywhere. Now starting at $699 with exclusive student pricing starting at $599. Complete your setup with savings on select monitors and must-have electronics and accessories. Limited time deals and free shipping on PCs and more await you at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
KGSO Studio, brought to you by Renewal by Anderson. Superior products, exceptional service. Find them online at renewalbyanderson.com. The TBT tournament is here, and we have you covered. This is Wichita's sports station, KGSO.
Desperate and broken, the sound of a fight. Father has spoken.
Welcome on back to the Press Box on KGSO. We're the longest running sports talk station in the ICT. Thanks for choosing us on your drive home, drive out, whatever you're up to here on a hump day, whatever you call it, Wednesday, middle of the week. Look, speaking of kings, man, this guy's the king of defensive coverages. Getting queued up for the upcoming NFL season. We'll talk maybe a little NFL, maybe a little college with Cody Alexander from MatchQuarters.com, who joins us now on the Maximum Outdoor Equipment phone lines. Cody, what's up?
How you guys doing?
Not too shabby, dude. I will go ahead and start off. I'm looking at the site, and I'm seeing you've got an AFC South breakdown. I think we've maybe discussed Houston just a smidge here in the past couple of weeks, but kind of reflecting back on a summer series Sasha and I did, where we projected every record for the upcoming season for each team, all 32 in the NFL, I kind of realized, I'm like, wait a minute, I have the Houston Texans projected 13-4, and I don't have another team projected that high, and so I'm seeing you're breaking down the AFC South. Kind of go over this division and specifically the Houston Texans and maybe where you lie record prediction-wise because of this elite defense.
Yeah, I mean, last year you had the defense, and that was kind of the story all year. And then I think you got into situations, and they would get into situations with teams, especially you saw this in the playoffs. I mean, they just didn't have anything on defense, and I mean on offense. And you have such an elite defense, but you can't seem to figure out the offensive side of the ball. And I think that is going to be one of those things. We have two quarterbacks really in this division with Trevor Lawrence and C.J. Stroud, who I think a lot of people look at them and say, that's the prototypical NFL quarterback. That's exactly what the quarterback should look like. He moves in the pocket great. He throws the ball great, when everything's going right. But it just seems like they just cannot figure out the offensive side of the ball there. Now, Haley is going to be there now for year two. They added David Montgomery. I think they're really trying to – they added, tight ends. I think they're trying to really go back to the basics of this system. Remember, Haley is a McVay, Shanahan guy. Going back to the basics, make it easy, try and create some momentum early in the year, and then be able to lean on David Montgomery, because that's the only way to get to 13 wins. We've seen this time and time again. An elite defense wins you the championship, but an offense is going to win you games, and you have to have an offense in order to win those games.
So we talked a couple of weeks ago about Mike Macdonald being the elite defensive mind in the NFL right now from a defensive coordinator or head coach perspective. DeMeco Ryans is obviously up there as well, but do you think the Texans kind of take the cake in terms of personnel on the defensive side, or who would compete with the Texans in the NFL in terms of having the best defensive personnel in football?
I think if the Broncos had a premier linebacker, you could argue that that's probably the best defensive roster. I think Riley Moss this year is going to go off. I thought he did really well last year. He just had a lot of penalties. If he even gets half of those penalties, we're not sitting here thinking of him. I mean, we're sitting there thinking of him as almost like a Pro Bowl corner. I know it's kind of hard for people to believe, but go look at his production. When you look at the Texans top to bottom, it's really hard to not make them number one in terms of roster. I think even what they did with Cody McDonald in the second round, essentially stealing what a lot of people felt was a first-round interior player, adding Reed Blankenship. I know that may not sound, sexy, but that's a guy who comes from a Frangio system who was essentially the quarterback of the unit there, which is one of the hardest defenses to play in. Adding that element and adding it, kind of being able to kind of get from him what we could maybe add. Because, again, I called it the anti-defense last year, because it was like, set the ball, this is what we're doing. We were either running a 4-3 or running nickel, 4-2, and we're either running quarters or covered 3, and that's what we're doing, and we're just getting after you. I think their roster is the best roster, and they don't have to do a lot because they can just line up and play. Now, this year, can they add to it to kind of amplify it?
Talking with Cody Alexander from MatchQuarters.com here in the press box on KGSO. Cody, as Sasha brings up defensive minds here, Mike Macdonald, Seattle Seahawks. The Seattle Seahawks are coming to Arrowhead for a preseason game this Friday. I'm going to be in attendance. I'm going to be watching this. And look, across the field, you got Steve Spagnuolo, right? I think, postseason-wise, he's done as good of a job as anybody this decade. I do want to ask you a specific question, though, about the Chiefs' defense. What are we going to see out of L'Jarius Sneed this year? I think a lot of Chiefs fans are kind of speculating, is there a world where he can show you a glimpse of what he could do for you a couple years back, or is this more the guy that we saw in Tennessee constantly dinged up and the age has hit this defensive back? What do you think of L'Jarius Sneed here in Spagnuolo's system?
I think Snead gives you a quality backup in case something were to happen to Delane or Noel Williams. I know that they're really relying on those two to really step up. I think you should, even though it's been a quiet preseason, I think you can be happily I think you can sit there and be happy about getting Delane. I think he's going to be a back corner. He's going to be a lockdown guy. I think they got what they need. I think Snead gives you a little bit of an exit ramp if Noel Williams can't handle the full-time job. You know, you signed Christian Fulton as well. So you have two quality veteran backups at corner behind two young guys that you feel like potentially could be, you know, really high quality players for you on defense. But I just don't think, I think they traded him to the Titans because they knew what he was. And I feel like at that moment they were not going to get any more than what they were. And I think that's kind of where he is now, more or less like a veteran leadership role, really helping these young players come along.
I know when the Chiefs had Snead before, they moved him around a little bit, but then he was gone and McDuffie moved around a little bit, right? He was sometimes on the outside, sometimes in the slot. Do you see Noel Williams and Mansour Delane as kind of the two guys that just stay outside? And then if that's the case, who do you see as like the nickel corner for the Chiefs, the guy who plays inside a little bit more?
That's the $1 million question, because I think you're spot on. This isn't where Delane is a premium outside corner. You're not going to kick him inside, especially because you don't have another guy out there, right? I think Noel Williams again is not a nickel. Shamari Connor, you have to move back because Jaden Hicks hasn't really advanced. So it's one of those things where it's like either Jaden Hicks needs to finally become the player that everybody has been hearing around Kansas City forever, that, oh, we're really excited about this kid. He's played less every year that he's been with the Chiefs. Is this the year that he can finally push for a starting spot, which then allows you to move Shamari Connor? You know, one of the guys that's kind of lost in all of this is Kader Kohu, who's coming from the Dolphins. If he can get back to where he was pre-injury, you've got a pretty nasty nickel right there, and that kind of gives you some ability to be multiple. Because remember, Spags, if you go back to 2 years ago when Reed was still there, they were playing with four safeties, moving guys around, being multiple that way in order to keep the corners outside. They just don't have that. So that is the big question. Who's going to be the nickel? And it almost can't be Shamari Connor because he's going to have to play safety.
Cody, I'm seeing you got a piece here on the Denver defense. Vance Joseph sort of, dicing up some, pre-snap disguises. Talk a little bit about the Denver Broncos defense this year, because I think a lot of Chiefs fans are maybe not concerned, but they're thinking, hey, Denver's probably our biggest test in the division, and that defense with Benito and Zach Allen, they got some talent.
Yeah, the big question mark here is losing Franklin Myers. Is can you get the same production from Malcolm Roach, and either with the, I think Onyedem, who they drafted in the third round, can you get the production out of those guys? Because Franklin Myers was kind of the glue to that entire group. This is a five-man front. This is a front that really wants to kind of highlight Zach Allen in the two edges. You were able to keep Cooper and Benito is not a very big dude, but he's super fast. You were able to kind of keep them clean because you had these workhorses inside. So the one question about the Denver defense is going to be, can they replace that production from Franklin Myers? Because I think that's going to be the big question mark. The other thing is the linebacking core is still the same. I don't think a lot of Broncos fans are really excited about the linebacking core, but you're so good in the back end and you're so good on the front end that it almost doesn't matter. I think another X factor here is going to be Jahdae Barron, and can he kind of unseat Jaquan McMillan at nickel and give you maybe a big nickel where you have almost a safety-like guy who can play zone coverage, he can blitz, he's okay near the box against the run, to where now you can start packaging your things and you're not necessarily so predictable in what you're doing. I think this is a defense that's going to be a top defense in the NFL again, barring injury.
Yeah, so I'll frame that. I'll stay in the AFC West, and I was going to ask you to rank the AFC West defenses, but I don't think I want to know the answer. So you talked about like the strengths and weaknesses of the different levels of the Broncos defense. So linebackers is kind of their biggest weakness, but they're good up front, good in the backside. We talked a lot about the Chiefs secondary in that last question, but just from your perspective, if you had to rank the three levels of the Chiefs defense, how would you put those in order of best to worst?
I think you have to look at the linebacking core with Nick Bolton and Drew Tranquill as probably the top unit. I think they're probably the most trusted. I know Bolton sometimes gets Chiefs fans angry because he doesn't go the right way in coverage, but he's such a dynamic player at linebacker. Tranquill is kind of this unsung hero, but it's a solid unit, but it's a unit that lost Chenal. I think if you look at the front, they finally have players to where maybe you could push it. Chris Jones almost kind of pulls you to where you want to say that this is the top unit. But there's, Ashton Gillette is kind of, we don't know if he's going to be a star yet. FAU hasn't really figured it out yet, even though he's a local kid. You really want him to hit home. He just hasn't really become that first-round draft pick. The guy that I think could really push the D-line from second to first in terms of levels is R. Mason Thomas, because he's looked like an absolute monster. I think he can be an X factor on this defense and almost like a Chenal-esque of where you can move him around and maybe do some certain things with him. Then obviously the third level would be the secondary, because I just think there's so many question marks. You have a rookie corner who, again, I think he's going to be a star, but do we know, is he going to be a Trent McDuffie star and he's just going to be a star from day one, or is it going to take some time, but you still have some question marks in the back end? So that would be first, second, and third.
All right, Cody, I am looking at a nice table here of defensive statistics from last season in the NFL, and I've got points allowed by team here as the ranking. And, you got some usual suspects here, 28 Tennessee, 29 Arizona. You get Cincinnati and the New York Jets. But there is one team, and I think it's still apparently America's team. It's the Dallas Cowboys. We got a lot of fans here in our coverage. So I got to ask you a two-part question. Does this Cowboys defense go from worst to mediocre? And is Caleb Downs, is he maybe the front runner for defensive player or defensive rookie of the year, excuse me?
Well, I think that this defense just already, in fact, I'm working on an article for the Cowboys that's going to come out the Friday before the weekend opener. But when you really look at what they were last year compared to what they're doing this year, you're seeing, I've got multiple clips of guys communicating with each other, guys adjusting to the formation and the motions that are going in front of them. They're running advanced coverages that, and they're doing a pretty decent job matching up with what they're seeing. That's something that the Cowboys defense couldn't even do in a very static cover 3 Tampa 2 4-2-5 system under Eberflus. So we're already better, and your floor is higher than you were last year. I think the front has been fixed with I think they have inside depth. I think they like their edges that they have. I think they're really happy with the defensive players that they picked up in the draft, especially a guy like Jason Barham, who's been a really good blitzer for them when he's been out there. LT Overton, who they drafted, who not a lot of people are talking about because he's a fourth-round draft pick. He looks like he belongs. So that leaves you with like Caleb Downs, and is he going to be dynamic? They're already starting him. He's basically on the Cooper DeJean path. He's going to start at safety for them, and then he's going to move to nickel when they go into their sub packages. So yeah, he's going to probably. I think they would like him to have almost 99% of the snaps. So anytime you're a rookie and you're playing that many snaps, especially in a prime position as the down safety and the nickel, I think that saying that he could be the defensive player of the year, barring an edge just going off and getting like 10 sacks, I think that he has the ability, because that's what he's going to be asked to do. He's going to be asked to be the best player on the field.
All righty, he is Cody Alexander stopping by from MatchQuarters.com here on the press box on KGSO. Oh, Cody, I'm so ready for the start of the season. What's going to be coming out on the website here pretty soon?
Well, I'm wrapping up everything that I've got so far. So I've got enough Seahawks stuff that I'm not going to put anything down in there, but I've got the Texans article coming, and then obviously I told you I got Cowboys coming up. So we're wrapping everything up and getting ready for the season.
Love it. Cody, I appreciate the time. Have a great week.
You too, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Cody.
We'll see ya. Phone lines are back open, 522-1410. On the other side, it's the Press Box. Don't you forget.
This segment of the Press Box is brought to you by Wichita Clear Bra, the ultimate car care and protection. Online at wichitaclearbra.com.
The Press Box on KGSO.
40 to the 30. The Burgers are on.
High school football season is here. And it's time for you to pick up a copy of the High School Football Guide from the Mid-America Sports Network. Keep track of your favorite teams as they fight their way to the state championships. Find a copy of your High School Football Guide.
In South Haven LP Gas. In Wellington, Bank of Commerce, Mill Creek Lumber and Supply, Pat's Liquor, and Raber Ford. And in Winfield, Bing Brothers LLC, Edward B. Stevenson and Company, and Winfield Motor Company.
Right now, Rusty at Ford is making it easier than ever to save. Get 2.9% financing for 84 months, plus a $1,000 rebate on all 2026 F-150s. With dealer discounts and 2 years maintenance on us, now's the perfect time to drive home in a new truck. Looking for something else? We have 500 new and used vehicles to choose from. And don't forget, we'll give you up to $5,000 over KBB for your trade. Visit RustyAtFord.com. Simply the best place to buy. With approved credit, 2 years or 25,000 miles maintenance. See dealer for details. Raptors not included.
Football is here, and we are all excited to celebrate at Quincy's Bar and Grill. Quincy's Bar and Grill is packed full of TV, so you won't miss any of the action of your favorite team.
Whether it's college or the NFL,
you can catch it all at Quincy's Bar and Grill, the longest-running sports bar and grill in Wichita. While you're there, grab a cold one with friends or grab something to eat from the great Quincy's Bar and Grill menu. Thursday through Sunday, you can catch your favorite football team at Quincy's Bar and Grill, 2047 Northwest Street, and online at quincy'sofwichita.com.
Are you in need of a new dentist? Check out 316 Dental at 13th and West Street. 316 Dental is now offering same-day services with the addition of a second dentist. That's right, same day. The hardworking team includes 4 hygienists and stays open late to fit your schedule. 316 Dental accepts most major insurance companies. Ask them about their new patient special that includes a comprehensive exam and x-rays. They also offer implants and Invisalign.
Care that soars above and beyond. 316 Dental.
Wichita Clear Bra.
Hey, this is Sasha Bushka from KGSO's Press Box, and I've been working with the guys at Wichita Clear Bra for several years now, and I can tell you the staff is great and fun to be around. Wichita Clear Bra has been in Wichita since 2015, and now's your chance to join the team. Visit wichitaclearbra.com and see the open positions. It would be a great place to work, and you won't believe the cars that come through.
Wichita Clear Bra, your quality auto spa.
Get notified of special programming, local games, and great promotions by downloading the KGSO app today. Just search SC Wichita in your app store.
Big shout out to Cody Alexander from MatchQuarters.com. I was just checking out the website. It gives you a little bit of a preview before you want to go ahead and sign up. So I think it's a nice little tool there. And great to see some of his work there on MatchQuarters.com. It is a crazy world of college sports.
Just real quick, we'll get into the college sports thing, but Cody does this thing called the data download every week on Match Quarters, which like goes through like the defensive statistics for the season through that week, and like it's worth the price of admission alone. Just looking at I'm looking at the end of season 1 from last year. If you're a football nerd, you got to check out Match Quarters.
Rather than lose money on a bet, which is inevitable,
right? Just
spend that dough on Cody's website, matchquarters.com.
Or at least subscribe to the newsletter, right? Like, there's a lot you can do.
Go ahead and read through that comment for me first, before I dare read that. I wanted to get here on the SEC. Look, it's a day-by-day process, right? We have absolutely no idea what is going to happen here in the matter of weeks, but I do know that decisions are being made on the daily, and I think enough people who have real control over college sports are starting to get fed up, and I think there's been a lot that's on the camel's back. Maybe this is another to help break it, but guys, it was really looking like Daquan Wright was going to make a return from the NFL, the Cleveland Browns. Munkin was pretty in disbelief when he was asked about this, but he was going to be signing on with Lane Kiffin's LSU Tigers, like pretty much as of yesterday. And then we saw the SEC to pass a ruling to ban all NFL, NBA, anyone to come back, even WNBA to come back and play college sports. And now I'm even seeing they're going the extra mark here. SEC to suspend head coaches who add pro players. Lane Kiffin, you better be careful.
But so it's collusion, first of all. Like this is the point I made yesterday, which I hadn't heard a lot of people talking about yet, but now I'm seeing it online, is like, if the NCAA can't make a rule prohibiting these types of players, what gives the conferences the power to do it without getting sued and losing in court as well?
Fining and suspending coaches.
Yeah, and they could do that, but like that's against the spirit. I mean, I guess maybe that's their, but the NCAA could say the same thing, right? Oh, okay, you're going to circumvent our rule. We're just going to suspend coaches who do it. That feels illegal, is what it feels like. Like that, like the coach could easily fight that in court, and they couldn't do it. And so, I mean, I don't know that for sure, but if like, what world are we living in that the NCAA has zero power, but conferences can do whatever they want?
These courts will never be able to force players onto the field, though, in my opinion. Like, they have to go to the team. They have to prove it and work their way up the depth chart. I think there's just too many hurdles, and there's too many other people with power in the conference who are trying to put a stop to it. Yes, maybe collusion, but dare I say healthy collusion?
It's fine. It's healthy. I'm not saying it's wrong. Like, I don't agree with like keeping these guys off the field. I'm just saying, why do the conferences have more power than the NCAA itself? And my answer is, I don't think they actually do. But you're right. The only way to like prevent all of this is, it's the same way they've been talking about it in college basketball. If every coach says we won't take a player that's had professional experience, then the players have no way on the court. But the coaches want to win, right? And if nobody else will take a guy who has professional experience, but you will, that gives you a leg up on everyone else.
That was Kiffin's
and that's
mentality.
the problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Lane Kiffin's going to do everything under the sun to try to win within the rules and maybe even bend the rules very far. But I think this goes to show, if enough people feel, in strong disagreement about something, they're going to put up a stink. It reminds me a little bit with Brendan Sorsby, how it was kind of looking like he was going to march his way onto the field. And I think enough coaches were calling the commissioner saying, hey, we will walk off the field if Brendan Sorsby plays for Texas Tech this season. And so I think that there was probably some of those situations going on. It's just a complete guess, a shot in the dark, blindfolded. Maybe you had some coaches calling up, the SEC commissioner and saying, if you dare let this player come back from the NFL and play college football this season, we're walking off the field.
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility, right? And like the court of public opinion does win out sometimes, and that's what happened with Sorsby for sure. And then the NFL said, like, hey, you can't just come here as your outlet. And so that whole thing kind of blew up. Even the Canadian Football League told their owners nobody can sign him. So I got to read on Devin's comment here. It really has nothing to do with sports, so I don't know that we even need to give it the time. But I'll just say, if you've been watching the Lindsey Clancy trial, I know in pop culture a lot of people have, that's what this comment's about. If you want to go to Facebook and check it out and see what he had to say, go for it.
I don't know anything about it.
Lindsey Clancy, it's all the rage on court TV right now. Mm-hmm. We'll just say that. It's a murder trial.
Ooh.
Yeah. Has nothing to do with sports whatsoever.
It's pretty dramatic. That's the wrong dramatic music. It was just sitting right there for the taking. Oh, man. Yeah, every once in a while other things come up on this show besides sports, but you know our main
I'm
story.
all for like non-sports stuff when it's fun and entertaining. When you're talking about a lady who murdered her 3 kids, that doesn't seem that fun to talk about.
Yeah. Devin, pretty daring on the Facebook feed. Well, coming up in hour 2. A few minutes away from starting this thing off. Big 12 football previews. We're gonna go in alphabetical order. I think for most, we may have to bump TCU up a little bit towards the end of the week if they are a Big 12 team playing in week 0. And of course, we have this sort of outline to do 2 teams per show, and of course, we got 8 shows before the real week 1 start. So it's an exciting time. We got Arizona and Arizona State football previews on the other side. We'll play a little big deal, no big deal next up in a quick hour. And of course, 522-1410 on the other side. Anything relevant in sports you want to bring up? Go for it.
Let's go.
Tune in on the SC Wichita app, kgso.com. We'll tell you a few more locations to pick up your high school football guide for the year. We'll be back.
High school football season is here, and it's time for you to pick up a copy of the High School Football Guide from the Mid-America Sports Network. Keep track of your favorite teams as they fight their way to the state championships. Find a copy of your High School Football Guide.
The Butler County Community College, and in Wichita, Athena Jewelry, Davis Liquor Outlet, Phoenix Heating and Air, Quincy's Bar and Grill, all 3 Legacy Bank locations, Maximum Outdoor Equipment, and Midwest Kia.
Every year, summer ends and the kids go back to school. This year, I'm going back too, at My Computer Career. They'll help me get the skills and certifications that can get me noticed by top employers in months, not years. Now I'm on a fast track to a high-demand IT career where the rewards can finally match my value. Visit mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. That's mycomputercareer.edu. It's never too late to go back to school.
Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like public works supervisor.
Hey, this waterman is under a ton of pressure. Did you ever fix it?
Yeah, 3 layers of duct tape. Wait, should I have added a 4th layer?
This is a job for sponsored jobs. This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
Have you noticed bad behavior has become normalized at interscholastic athletic events? Some fans seem angry. They lack civility toward one another. Some even get aggressive and unruly. Time out! What is going on? This has to stop. Let's not forget, school sports aren't just about winning. And they're definitely not an excuse to take your frustrations out on the official or the opponent. They're about teaching lessons like perseverance, respect, and empathy, so students can learn and grow as people, not just as players. We all have a role to play in setting a good example for our students and teaching them these important values. So fans, it's time to step up your game and behave positively at interscholastic athletic events in Kansas.
This message presented by the KSHSAA and the Kansas Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Do you eat the same foods now that you did when you were a toddler? Of course not. We all mature, and so should our diet, and that means eating right at every age. This is Sylvia Escott Stump of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. Certain foods offer vitamins and minerals for good health throughout life, especially in our golden years. For healthy bones, eat 3 servings a day of vitamin D fortified fat-free milk and other calcium-rich foods like dark green, leafy vegetables, and fortified cereals. Potassium can help prevent high blood pressure and is found in fruits, vegetables, milk, and yogurt. Foods with plenty of fiber can help prevent heart disease and type 2 diabetes and help you keep your weight down, especially fruits, grains, beans, lentils, and vegetables. Get information on healthy eating at any age and visit www.eatright.org. Encouraging you to eat right, I'm registered dietitian Sylvia Escott Stump with the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics.
Staying active and healthy as we age starts with strong bones. To keep your bones strong, you need calcium, vitamin D, and regular exercise. A bone density test called DEXA helps detect low bone mass and bone disease called osteoporosis. If you're 65 or older, Medicare provides free bone density tests every 2 years. Ask your doctor to schedule yours. For more information on how to be bone strong, visit pathtogoodbonehealth.org.
This is Wichita's sports station, K230BY, 93.9 FM, 1410 AM, and 99.7 HD3. KGSO Belle Plaine, Wichita. Broadcasting live from the KGSO studios in West Wichita.
I feel more informed when I listen.
This is The Press Box on Wichita's sports station, KGSO.
The Press Box on KGSO.
Four o'clock hour to the books. You've made it to hour 2 of the Press Box on KGSO 1410 93.9 here in the KGSO studios. Brought to you by Renewal by Anderson, where installation's done right on schedule. Jay-Z, Jacob Zimmerman, Sasha Bushka. Dial us up on the Maximum Outdoor Equipment phone lines 522-1410. We are streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Drop your comments. We'll read them and react. Watch shows back in their entirety if you missed them, as pretty much everything gets podcasted. Let's see here, coming up. We've got our previews to do here. Big 12 previews, kicking that off today. Arizona and Arizona State. We talked the Vicente hire at WSU, the Royals win streak. Cody Alexander, he came on for matchquarters.com today. And yeah, talked a little bit about this SEC ruling. You can also listen to us on the SC Wichita app. There you'll find our sister stations, 1480 KQAM for News Talk, Country, Hank FM, 99.7. They've got it, 102.5 La Raza, your Spanish station here in Wichita. And, of course, KGSO on the app as well. Sasha, you ready to go for hour 2?
Fired up, man. Hour 2, straight ahead. Let's do it. I'm excited about these two schools today.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, football preview season is here. We've made it to this moment. As look, this is always a fun series to do. We'll be doing this at 5 o'clock pretty much the rest of the week, and then all of next week to get you queued up and just get you in the know about what's going to happen this upcoming season in college football. Okay, quick look at last year and the results. Of course, Texas Tech was extremely dominant the entire way. The Red Raiders made it to the college football playoff. And look, with the Big 12, I mean, you kind of expect the unexpected, so much so that last year they didn't even have a coaches poll. I hope that changes for this upcoming year. But you had schools like Texas Tech at the high end, BYU in the conversation, Utah, Houston, who's projected well this year, Arizona and Arizona State both went 6-3 with their Big 12 records. Of course, are two teams that we are featuring today. Low end of the conference, your Colorado's, West Virginians, of course, your Oklahoma State, who did not win a conference game, 1-11 last year overall. So let's start with the Wildcats, and then we'll go to the Sun Devils. Arizona, quick recap of their 2025 season. Look, this team had a win streak towards the end of the year, really through the conference slate that capped off with a nice state rivalry, over the foe on the road at a ranked team at the time at 23-7. Noah Fafita and this team have a heck of an offense. We'll get into some of their continuity that's returning, but that win streak late in the year, parlayed with some close losses that I think, as time moved on, have proven to be impressive. A close loss by 3 points at Houston. You lose in double overtime to a legit BYU school. You also lost back in week 4 at Iowa State. That one was not competitive, but just kind of highlighted the losses here. And then SMU, ultimately the season came to a close with a loss in maybe a meaningless bowl game. That was Arizona's 2025 season.
Yeah, and listen, this was one of the hottest teams in the conference down the stretch, right? You mentioned it, but they won 5 games in a row to finish things off, including knocking Arizona State off their pedestal in the state championship game. They did lose their bowl game, but with bowl games, it's hard to kind of take those as a gauge on anything, just because you don't know who's participating in that sort of thing. But they have good continuity, as you're going to get to here coming back this year. So I think it's a team that has a chance to make some noise in the Big 12 this year.
Now looking at the 2026 schedule, what's going to happen for Arizona? You're starting off with an in-state matchup. Should be a very easy contest versus Northern Arizona. But then you get to a conference opponent already in week 2, and that's at Brigham Young, who's ranked 14th right now in the country. You got a few layups. Maybe at Washington State is interesting, but then you hit the real conference schedule. Cincinnati to kick off October. You're at West Virginia, Iowa State. The big doozy, of course, it's always the highlight. I think this is circled on everybody's schedule. If you're headed to Lubbock to play Texas Tech, 12th in the country as it stands right now, that wraps up the month of October. You've got TCU. You've got Utah at home. You've got K-State on the schedule. They did not draw the Jayhawks, but it is the Wildcats there November 21st, and then it seems to be a trend. I don't even know what's the rivalry dubbed in Arizona? Arizona State, Arizona? I'm sure it's got a name. Not as cool as Sunflower Showdown, though. Yeah,
it's probably got sun in the name somewhere, though. A lot of sun out there in Arizona. But what sticks out to me as I look at their schedule for this year, it's not a super daunting schedule, but the 2 best teams in the Big 12, they're going to play at their place, right? So the fact that they even play both BYU and Texas Tech is kind of a tough draw, right? Because you don't play everyone in the conference. But then the fact that they have to go to BYU and to Texas Tech, both those games, it's kind of like, I'm not going to say they can't win them, but it's 2 games that you don't expect to win heading into the season. So that's going to go a long way, right? If they can beat BYU in week 2, then maybe you build some momentum in that Texas Tech game on Halloween becomes a big showdown. But if they get beat handily by BYU in week 2, then anything they do after that, nobody's really going to pay attention to until you get to the Texas Tech game.
All right, so here with Arizona, I wanted to kind of mention the offseason a little bit as far as continuity, and they got a nice chart here on 247 Sports as far as who they've brought in. I'm seeing Dalen Austin, a 4-star transfer portal pickup. He was technically a 4-star in high school, but it was a 3-star transfer portal guy coming over from Oregon. You've also got Mate Tagoa, who was a 4-star in high school, 3-star transfer rating coming over from USC, of course, a notable school. So Arizona, they have went out there and picked up some guys. I mentioned Dalen Austin. He is projected to be their starting free safety. Outside of the defensive back room, there is only 2 projected incoming transfer starters on the rest of this roster. In the offense, they got some nice sort of returning production ratings out here. Arizona is 32nd best in the country. They return at 60% of their production, and that is 66% offensively and 55% of their defense. So Arizona, I was kind of caught off guard going through this. I'm like, man, here, even in the big 2026, the era of players come into the school and then dipping out the next summer, that doesn't seem to be quite the case there with Arizona this year.
Yeah, it's a good outlook for Arizona, I would say, this year, right? A lot of people don't realize how strong they finished last year and got 4th in the conference. The projections on the 4-letter network have them getting 5th this year, right? Yeah. And an SP plus that's 5th best in the conference, projecting them to win on average about 7.6 games, so round that up to 8. But that means, like, margin of error of a couple of games, they could be a 10-win team pretty easily. They're getting votes in the AP poll. They would have been 29th if it went down that far. And so Arizona is a program on the rise. And I think, like, with Kenny Dillingham and Arizona State, kind of with this Cam Scatterby year a couple of years ago, they took a lot of the thunder in that state with winning the Big 12 after being picked to get last. And so that's the program that people have been paying attention to, but slowly but surely, here comes Arizona.
And leading Arizona in the charge for the Wildcats is Noah Fafita. Noah Fafita is going to be now a fifth-year quarterback, all for one school, guys. That's pretty incredible, Meek, in the transition from the Pac-12 to the Big 12. And he had a redshirt year back in 2022, became the starter in 2023. This is a guy who has had nice seasons as, I guess, a redshirt sophomore, or they've got it listed a little bit differently here online, but basically the 2023 season, the 2025 season, he was pretty legit, 25-plus passing touchdowns in each season. His 2023 completion percentage was gnarly at 72%. That's dipped down with more attempts as he's gone on throughout his career, but last season, 3,200 yards, 29-6 is the touchdown to interception ratio. He was one of the better, I would say, a top 5 quarterback in the Big 12 last season. And so he is a guy who's been there. He knows the system. I'm sure there in Arizona, like, he's a household name to all the fans because there's not confusion of, who's our quarterback? But this is a guy who, had a couple of performances last year that he really had to respect. 376 against Oklahoma State. It is Oklahoma State. And then against Weber State, lit it up as well for 5 touchdowns and 373. So when the talent is not there on the other side, he's going to look like a Heisman Trophy candidate.
Yeah, and listen, that kind of continuity at quarterback is rare in today's college football, right? And so a lot of people brought in quarterbacks this offseason. There's a few schools like in the top 10 that are returning quarterbacks, but you can look at the talent and look at what a guy did at another school and hope it projects to your school, or you can have a guy that was already a really good quarterback at your school coming back with the same coaching staff and the same system, and you kind of know what you're going to get there. And so that's a big advantage for Arizona heading into this year. As the season starts.
To wrap up Arizona, before we get to Arizona State here in a Big 12 previews, looking at the coach and looking at kind of some record history with the Arizona Wildcat football program, you got Brent Brennan as the head man. He's been with the club since 2024. If you kind of remember the name or recognize the name, he was the coach of San Jose State since 2017 to 2023. They were pretty good conference-wise in the Mountain West. Overall records were nothing necessarily too sexy, but hey, to get San Jose State in multiple bowl games, I think is pretty impressive of its own. And they actually played Arizona in a bowl game, by the way, back in the COVID season where they went 7-1 overall. So a nice little connection there with Brent Brennan. I'm looking at the history of Arizona Wildcat football. 9-4 is their record last year overall. They've kind of gone up and down, to be honest with you folks. COVID year, they went 0-5. In 2021, they went 1-11. They were a 5-win club in 2022. They won 10 games actually last year, the Pac-12 with Jed Fish, but since then they won 4 and then 9, as I mentioned, with Brennan. So is this a team that's potentially going to increase their win total once again?
I think they could, right? You talked about the continuity. You talked about the hot streak that they finished last season on. I don't think there's any reason to believe that Arizona doesn't just continue the momentum and play really well this year. Now, going up from 9 in the regular season will be hard to do, right? That they went 9-3 before the bowl game, so they'd have to go 10-2, and then you're only one game away from really being like a CFP contender, which I don't think a lot of people have them as. But I think it's safe. It's a safe bet. Like, if you put their over-under at 7.5, I'd take the over and have them win in 8 or 9 games this year. I think they'll be right in that 8-9 range.
I think they're a pretty safe bet to finish the top half of the Big 12 minimum. And this is a team that I now view honestly better than before we were doing this exercise. So Arizona football, I think probably when we're done with the series, we can, pile them all up into a tier list or a ranking and kind of just give our final thoughts there to really group up teams by how we project them. But enough of Arizona. Let's get to the Sun Devils of Arizona State, shall we? Guys, the Sun Devils in 2025, what happened with them? Well, I think kind of quickly into the season, you realized, hey, maybe this isn't the team that we've had with Cam Scatterbo in years past. You lost at Mississippi State. That was one of those games that you wanted to sort of get in the non-con. And then, look, you rattle off a couple of victories. You beat a ranked TCU team at the time. You got absolutely waxed with the best scoring offense there in the Big 12 last year at Utah. You did beat Texas Tech. That does come with a bit of an asterisk, though, because we were discussing this. Morton was not a go. They rolled out Will Hammond, and because Texas Tech played their backup, even though that defense is lethal, you give credit to Sam Leavitt. But look, it's a different Texas Tech overall team without a starting quarterback. Maybe that's not the case this year, losing Sorsby in the summer. But hey, the Sun Devils did show a ceiling that was pretty high up there by beating Texas Tech. They lost a close one to Houston. But then you put together a nice little stretch here at the end of the season, beating Iowa State. I don't know if you're maybe celebrating that one big time. I think a close win, to West Virginia is maybe a little alarming, and then losing that rivalry matchup the way you did was certainly disappointing if you're Kenny Dillingham. And then this team lost to Duke. Duke's made improvements in football. They're not the Duke of the mid-2010s, but losing to Duke in a bowl game is not something you want to do. It's a fall from being in the college football playoff.
Yeah, but Duke was in the ACC championship game last year, if memory serves, so they were pretty decent. They had Darian Mensah at quarterback, I think is the right name there. He'll be leading the Miami Hurricanes this year, or Hurricane. Sorry, added the S there.
It is the Canes.
Is it the Canes?
Yeah,
should be just the Hurricane. That'd be more exciting. I always get confused on that one, whether they use the S or not. But anyways, obviously Arizona State. It was disappointing last year. They lose Sam Leavitt, but they played without him the last 5 games of last year anyway. Right. So, but in terms of last season and this schedule, they just couldn't quite get the momentum they needed. Every time you thought they had it rolling, they ran into a Utah, they ran into a Houston and Arizona, and kind of they were good, but they weren't. They were a really highly ranked team going into the year, expected to kind of build on that college football playoff appearance from the year before.
All right, I am looking here at Arizona State and their schedule. I think we're going to be talking about Arizona State a little bit this year because, well, they draw both Kansas teams. KU, September 19th for Week 3, and then you got a mid to late season matchup against K-State, October 24th. That one is a road game for the Wildcats, home there for the Sun Devils. Obviously, what's sticking out to me, you've got 3 ranked teams here on the rundown. Texas A&M, 8th. You're going to their place down south. That's going to be tough. You are also facing off against Texas Tech. You are going to BYU. So all of their ranked matchups are on the road, which sucks for the Sun Devils. You do get some home layups, though, with Oklahoma State, Colorado. You've got Hawaii on the schedule October 10th. I don't know why it's that far into the season. Who knows what KU is going to be looking like that early into the year. And then, of course, Morgan State to kick things off. And you're at Arizona for the rivalry matchup to end the regular season. So I think the Sun Devils, based off of schedule, and we're going to get into it a little bit with some of the talent that they've lost, I don't think this is going to be a Sun Devils team that is looking towards a Big 12 championship game appearance. But who knows?
Yeah, and the Kansas-Arizona State game is the one over in London, right? So
right.
That's at Wembley Stadium early in the year, their 3rd game of the year, September 19th. But yeah, that's you mentioned it, but like the 3 currently ranked teams on their schedule are all on the road, and then they're also at Arizona, who might be the 4th best team on their schedule. And so you're going to be playing true road games against a bunch of schools that are projected to be better than you anyways. That's a tough way to kind of go through a schedule. Obviously, if you beat Texas A&M on the road in Week 2, all bets are off, but I think that's pretty unlikely for a team that we talked about Arizona having continuity. Arizona State does not, and that's a team that underperformed last year anyways, and they lost a lot of pieces from last year's squad.
Metrics are projecting Arizona to have a 92% chance at winning 6 games, getting to a bowl. Arizona State, however, just a 64% chance of crossing that same mark. I am seeing here the returning production rankings down at 71 in the country. Arizona State, they are second to last in the entire conference. Just 51% of their production is returning. And that's a little bit less than 50% there on the defensive side. So here with Arizona, they're going to have their hands still cold up for this upcoming schedule. I was looking at some of their losses, some of their additions here. I think the losses stick out to me a little bit more. Their leading rusher, Brown from last season, he's gone. Levitt and Sims. Sims played a good amount. He's gone. Your top 3 tacklers on the defense have now disappeared. And, of course, Jordan Tyson was a first-round pick in the NFL.
Yeah.
So
he was
in
and out of the lineup a lot, though, with injuries and things. But, yeah, you definitely have some holes to fill and some production to replace. The only thing that maybe gives me a little hope if I'm a Sun Devil fan, I mean, it's not like it's that bleak, but the thing that does give me more hope if I'm a Sun Devil fan is maybe Kenny Dillingham is the kind of guy that just kind of, when you underestimate him, when you least expect it, that's where he jumps up and puts together a performance. Because, we mentioned it, but they were picked to get last in the Big 12 the year that they won it and went on to the college football playoffs. They won't be picked last this year, that's for sure, but they'll be more of a middle-of-the-pack pick, whereas last year they were near the top of most rankings, them and Texas Tech heading into last season.
Before you think about maybe writing off the Sun Devils this year, you do have to recognize some of these ratings that came in with their transfer recruits. Here on 247sports.com, Reed Harris, he was a 3-star high school recruit. He was a 4-star transfer portal acquisition coming over from Boston College. He's a projected wide receiver starter. Same thing on the edge. Catching footballs as Omarion Miller. He was a 4-star out of high school. He retained 4 stars here in the portal coming over from Dion's crew with Colorado. And then Cutter Boley. Cutter Boley projected to be the starter here. He was a 4-star transfer portal pickup out of the University of Kentucky. And so you only got one summer to put this all together, but Boley maybe is a talent that can improve things overnight.
Yeah, and it's worth mentioning and pointing out, right, they started the summer with basically a 4-man QB race, which I don't know. They say if you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have one. If you have 4, you definitely don't have one. But it's worth noting that Kenny Dillingham is not officially named a quarterback starter yet.
Okay.
He's in a battle with a 6th-year senior who's
Mikey Keene?
Yes, with Keene. And I think Boley is presumed to be ahead in the race right now. But according to the reporting I was seeing online, local media, he has not actually said that Cutter Boley is going to be the starter.
You got the case of, do I go with a guy who has maybe not had a ton of success but has played some of the best competition in the country there? You're Kentucky. Your schedule is one of the toughest in the country every year because you're in the SEC. And then you got Mikey Keene, who has 4 years under his belt. Looks like he took a red shirt maybe in 2022 for UCF, but really he's been producing at Fresno State over the last 2 seasons. So experience, lower level, maybe a bit of an unknown, but a higher level guy. That's kind of a big debate with a lot of these teams here heading into the season for 2026. Kenny Dillingham, he's going to have to piece things together. He was the OC and quarterbacks coach in the lone 2022 season for the Oregon Ducks. He spent some time for 2 years at Florida State, Auburn, Memphis, going back some time into the 2010s, but he's been at Arizona State now since 2023. Going record by season here for Dillingham. Won 2 conference games, then 7, then 6. Heading into this year, does he take a step down, take a step up? Look, this team has come a long way. Herm Edwards kind of left them a bit in the dust there. They had a few positive winning seasons in his tenure, but you're talking about a program that hasn't won double-digit games aside from 2024 since the early 2010s there, 2013, 2014. So this is a program that's still pretty hungry for success.
Yeah, they got a little taste of it, right? Kind of a magical year there in 2024, but they want to get more consistent success and get that taste in football and on the hardwood. They've been kind of like a middle-of-the-pack, mediocre type Big 12 or Pac-12 going back team for a while now in both sports.
And that's great to collect a revenue paycheck, but you want to see yourself at the top of the standings here at some point. To round it out here with not KU and K-State, Arizona and Arizona State. Arizona State here in our Big 12 previews Looking at their key players returning, Sasha, this was a little tough because if you see their depth chart, there's a lot of, depending on who you use, but a lot of gold here in our lads for the incoming transfers this season. The offensive line, though, does have some continuity. You have, sophomores on the left side, but you do have some experience a little bit on the right side, but it's only your projected starting center. You got a true freshman right underneath them, but it's only your projected starting center who is a new piece here on this offensive line. So, look, you change the skill position, guys, and the quarterback, but you are able to hold on to your offensive line. Sometimes that can be a big help.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a place, too, where, like, it's not as much about the individual talent, and it's more about continuity. So if you're going to tell me, like, I can have continuity at the skill positions and great talent on the line, or vice versa, right? Continuity on the line and great talent at the skill positions, I'd probably take the latter in that regard, where like the offensive line has to work together as a unit, whereas sometimes the skill position guys can kind of be out on an island, and if they have great talent, they're going to win out there. So maybe that is a recipe for some success for Arizona State this year.
Kyson Brown looking to take a step up with his production this year at running back. He only had 106 yards total last season, but he was a member of this roster. You lost Raleek Brown. Sims and Levitt actually both ran the ball quite a bit last year for Arizona State, excuse me. So I think these teams have their hand full. You're not projecting either one of these squads to win the conference, but I think Arizona State, maybe just a step behind Arizona as it sits right now. Both, I would say, sort of semi-middle of the pack teams.
Yeah, they're both projected between 4 and 5 conference wins out of 9 games. So there you go.
Oh, alphabetical order, how we start off our Big 12 preview series. Big deal, no big deal next.
Call the Press Box now on the Maximum Outdoor Equipment phone lines at 522-1410.
The Press Box on KGSO.
40 to the 30. The Birders are on.
High school football season is here. And it's time for you to pick up a copy of the High School Football Guide from the Mid-America Sports Network. Keep track of your favorite teams as they fight their way to the state championships. Find a copy of your High School Football Guide.
In Wichita, Rick Drees Insurance Agency, Doc Grains, Vintage Bank of Kansas, Taco Pronto, the Wichita Driving School, Andale Construction and Andale Ready Mix, Younger & Sons, and Allied Battery.
Every school pickup line has a main character. Most days, it's the kids. But once a year, a parent pulls up in a brand new Kia Telluride. And suddenly, all eyes are on Mom.
Is that the new one? I heard it comes in a hybrid now. I heard it has heated seats in all 3 rows.
And for a moment, the kids aren't the only ones in the spotlight. This August, let that parent be you, because Mom deserves to shine too. Or if it's your student's turn to get behind the wheel, find great starter cars like the K4 sedan and K4 hatchback. Plus, you can get 0% financing on brand new Sportage and Sorrento models. And every new Kia is backed by our unbeatable 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. Whichever model you choose, we have big savings on great vehicles for that main character energy. Only at Midwest Kia.
We want to see ya in a Midwest Kia.
With approved credit, see dealer for details. Warranties a limited powertrain warranty.
Are you in need of a new dentist? Check out 316 Dental at 13th and West Street. 316 Dental is now offering same-day services with the addition of a second dentist. That's right, same day. The hardworking team includes 4 hygienists and stays open late to fit your schedule. 316 Dental accepts most major insurance companies. Ask them about their new patient special that includes a comprehensive exam and x-rays. They also offer implants and Invisalign.
Care that soars above and beyond. 316 Dental.
Did you hear? Allstate car insurance now costs even less. So when you bundle with home, you can save even more. Check Allstate first to bundle and save with a new lower auto rate. You're in good hands with Allstate. Not available in every state. Only applicable for new auto insurance business. Rates will vary by several factors, including how you purchase the policy. Potential savings may vary. Allstate North American Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Are you looking for a better healthcare experience? Kingman Healthcare Center is your answer. Our providers treat you with respect, personalized care, and professionalism. KHC Family Practice Clinics offer same-day appointments for your family's convenience. We are accepting new patients and have 2 locations in Kingman and Cunningham. Exceptional care every time. Call today or visit our website, kingmanhc.com.
Wichita's sports leader, KGSO, is brought to you by Devon James. Devon James Injury Lawyers. Call 888-8888.
That's 888-8888.
Remember, today you listen to The Press Box on Wichita's sports station, KGSO.
Getting nitty gritty. Football previews of the Big 12 have started. 5 o'clock, so get moving forward till the season begins, folks. 2 teams per day, Arizona and Arizona State. We did today. The alphabetical order will tell us who we have coming up tomorrow. I've yet to check it. I've yet to check it.
I could, yeah, I know my alphabet. I can tell you that.
Hey, Sasha, before we get into big deal, no big deal, I think this one's not even worth putting in the lineup. It's just an undisputed big deal, if you know what I'm saying. It's the high school football guide.
Hey, I got you, by the way. BYU and Baylor.
Okay.
Yeah.
I probably could have came to that if I sat there for a while.
And I have good news for you. The Big 12 standings, since nobody has played yet, are currently listed in alphabetical order. So
let's go.
That's gonna save us a lot of time.
Good thing there's
figuring out who we need to talk about.
Good thing there's no preseason to mess with the standings, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, guys, we're getting squared away for the high school football season, which starts next week. And look, Friday night, September 4th, Bishop Carroll. We're the home of the Golden Eagles, KGSO. This station, Wichita Northwest, is at BC. Doug Downs and company will have the call. And me and James Guerin will be on the sister station, 1480 KQAM, as Garden Plain welcomes Cheney. So, we got previews for 64 high schools in South Central Kansas. This is the 21st year we're coming out with this magazine, folks. And not only is this a great way to kind of get an idea of, hey, what are the local businesses here in South Central Kansas that support local sports that I do? There are these businesses right here. So some of the best deals you're going to find in the area. We encourage you to check out the sponsors who made this thing possible, but also previews for some of your favorite teams. If you're looking to pick up the high school football guide this year, that's got a nice schedule for each squad. As the head coach listed, the mascot, the classification, 200-word previews for crying out loud. If you're a fan of the Andover Central Jaguars, maybe the Arc City Bulldogs, or perhaps Garden Eisenhower, pick up your high school football guide at Lumber Company. Woods Lumber Company. Check out Collision Custom Auto Body Works. Maybe you're in Goddard, rooting on the Lions. How about Doggy Boutique, Norris Collision Center, Stroot Lockers, Wolf Ast Mortuary, and Daylight Donuts from Mr. B's himself. All right, Sasha. Now that we got the biggest deal out of the way, let's play a little big deal, no big deal.
I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
It's not 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 a big deal.
Ah, it's no big
Robert,
deal.
you don't get it. It's the Catalina wine mixer. People have killed to be in the position that I'm in.
He's right, Dad. It's a big deal.
I can feel it. Mixed bag, variety, rapid fire.
Sometimes I feel like when we play Big Deal, No Big Deal, it's all determined by what mood I'm in that day. Like, either everything's a big deal or nothing's a big deal, just depending on the mood I'm in. So we'll see what kind of mood I'm in today.
I try to give it like it's even split. Some weeks it's a little dry, and I'm like, dude, nothing's a big deal right now.
Yeah.
And then other weeks it's like, man, we could do a whole segment on some of these topics. We got a lot of big deals, so you know how this works. Big deal? No big deal? All right. Where do I want to go first? I'm going to go to college football here. And this would have caught my eye. Apparently, this isn't the first time this is happening. And it's one of those little rinky-dinky things. AP poll. Guys, preseason polls are already, as I said, a little rinky-dinky. And this one kind of has my eyes rolling. There is a tie in the rankings.
Yeah.
You have two teams who are 14th in the country. What in the world are we looking at, guys? This is not a big deal by any stretch of the imagination. But I'm just so confused, confuzzled. Like, how do you have BYU and USC tied for 14th?
I think I may be able to alleviate some of your confusion, Jay-Z.
What's going
I
on?
might just have to explain to you how polls work.
I mean,
a lot of different people. It's
it.
not like one person was like, I can't decide between these two teams, so I'm going to put them both 14th. A lot of people vote, like hundreds or 50 or 60. I don't know the number, but a bunch of people vote in the AP poll. Actually, I can figure it out. About 60 or 70. And they have a point system. First place vote gets you 25
exact
points.
Amount of points.
A 25th place vote gets you 1 point. They both had 839 points.
Flip a coin.
No, you don't have to flip a coin because that means across the poll, that's the point of a poll, people thought that these two teams were exactly both 14th. And then the next team's 16th. What do you got against two teams being 14th in the AP poll?
What if two teams were ranked number 1, huh?
It could happen, right? If they tied in points, that's what it would be. They would be tied for first.
Preposterous.
Okay.
I guess, you know what?
I'm happy to alleviate your confusion.
Maybe it is a big deal.
It's not a big deal.
Now that I'm thinking about it.
It's not a big deal at all. Now, if this was a committee that had to rank teams 1 through 25, like the College Football Playoff Committee when they do it 1 to 12, then you could not have a tie because you're saying as a committee, this is where we rank each team.
All
but
right.
in a poll, it's different.
We're going to keep it in the college football world. And this one is so fun. I think we have folks here in the listening audience right now, driving on Kellogg, wherever you're at in Wichita, surrounding areas, who would love to do what a man by the name of Justin Buzzard is up to right now, guys. Justin Buzzard is 47 years old, but he did not put his football dream to rest as he has made the team at San Jose City College as a defensive end. Oh, man.
What happened to the age limits? The 5 to play 5.
Oh, well, I need 20 years to play 5. Oh, dude. He's apparently an author, pastor. This is actually a really neat story, but he apparently still had the athleticism, and look, the city college needed some bodies, and they're not going to turn this man away. 47 years old. I got to think he's the man for a pregame speech, right?
I mean, he knows how to speak in front of people. He's got public speaking skills, and he's going to be real sore after the games, I bet, if he plays very many snaps.
What, his butt from sitting on the bench?
No.
I don't know, man. Put him out there for special teams. That'd be great. You know the crowd's there to see him.
Tom Brady could still play for San Jose City College. He's about 47.
I think he could start for
the Raiders.
An uncomfortable amount of Power 5 teams right now in college football.
Oh, he could start for some NFL teams, for sure.
Well,
maybe like half of them.
Jets. I don't know about half of them now.
I would say like maybe 10 of them because I think there's like 20 or so decent quarterbacks in the NFL, and anybody who doesn't have one of those 20 could use Tom Brady.
All right, I'll give this one some shine. He's a notable name in sports. Mike Greenberg has now made it 30 years with ESPN. Mike and Mike in the Morning was the show. Like, I wasn't necessarily listening to radio a ton from that era. I believe 2000 to 2017 was the duration of the show. I was more watching the television side, but even on TV, you would see a ton of clips from the radio show, and then it was on ESPN2 of Mike and Mike, and they had the sports world on lockdown. So congrats to Greenberg. Everyone's getting fired there at ESPN, but you and McAfee and Stephen A.
Yeah, and I'll say this. They were kind of the precursor to these national shows being simulcast, right? Mike and Mike, I'm sure it's probably been done for years, but that was the first radio show I remember that was a radio show, but they're like, we're just going to put it on TV every day.
Yeah.
Like Coward is from our network on Fox Sports Radio. He also, that same show airs on FS1 at the same time. So Mike and Mike kind of started that trend. And Mike Greenberg, people have varying opinions on him. I think he does a pretty good job of like inserting his sports knowledge where he can, but also understanding like go to the experts, right? Lead the show, go to the experts. I think Mike Greenberg's pretty good sportscaster.
I'll call it a big deal. Greeny's a host. Greeny's a storyteller, right? That's where he makes his difference.
But, and Get Up's a little bit different because he's got like a lot of experts around him. When it was him and Mike Golick and it's just the two of them and it's just a radio show like me and you were doing, then he gave more of his own opinions and talked more about things because he was doing a radio show. So he knows what lane he's in at what time.
Going back to college football for this, I do think it's a little interesting compared to some prior years. And I've even been on the other side of this where I'm thinking there's too many ranked-on-ranked matchups in week one. But, Sasha, I can only count one ranked-on-ranked matchup the entire week one in college football. And look, everyone's going to be hyped up for their own individual teams, but as far as like that marquee primetime game, we're kind of lacking that a little bit. I'm slightly disappointed in the NCAA.
Are you counting? Okay, so you're counting all the way till September 7th is week one, right? Like, so it's this weekend and next weekend, or just this weekend?
I'm saying
because they kind of got rid of that week 0 designation. They're just calling it all week one. So like San Jose State and USC play this Saturday. That would traditionally have been called week 0. Are you just talking about like up until this Sunday?
I'm talking about September 5th slate.
Okay, so yeah, that is the traditional.
And
week
it
one.
is. It's actually not in the 5th.
What is the ranked
matchup? It's the 6th. It's Louisville 24th and Ole Miss 9th.
Yeah, that's kind of. It is kind of a weak slate to start things off, but I think we have a really good one week 2. Like that's when Texas and Ohio State play. I think it ramps up quite a bit the next week.
I'm calling it no big deal.
Yeah, I'll agree.
All right, just saw this.
And you got Oklahoma, Michigan week 2. Week 2 will be fun.
The Pro Bowl is reportedly going away, and so are replacements. Finally, look, the Pro Bowl has become a no big deal. But what I think is a big deal is when you're discussing career accolades, and it's like, wait, Shedeur Sanders, Pro Bowler? Yeah, I think this is good. I'm glad I can just look at someone's status. They made a Pro Bowl. I know that they were one of the top players at their position in this replacement garbage. The game is going away. You didn't even really have a game, a bunch of mini games, flag football games no one cared to be in. That, the only viral highlight you would see is one player like accidentally getting hit too hard, and it's like, oh no. Like, I'm glad the Pro Bowl's going away at this point if we really just can't lace them up and play with the pads on like we did in Hawaii back in the day.
Yeah, no, I agree. And like the point of the Pro Bowl is really just it's a second designation, right? It's hard, it's easier to make than All Pro, but still hard to make, right? And it needs to still be hard to make. It shouldn't be just everybody's a Pro Bowler and then you have to look at All Pros to know anything. And so they do 44 spots per conference for the Pro Bowl. And so that's like All Pros only a first and second team for each position. This one has like 3 or 4 spots for most positions. So it gives you another chance to get an accolade if you weren't quite an All Pro.
All right, I'm going to surprise you with this one, bringing this up. Following sports pages, I'm still seeing her all over the place. It is Dolly Parton.
Oh, yeah.
Dolly Parton,
Dolly.
Who is iconic. Singer, songwriter, actress, businesswoman, philanthropist, which they always all are. Rest in peace. Rest in peace yesterday. Dolly Parton performed at the Thanksgiving game with the Cowboys in 2023. And she performed Rocky Top. She walked out with Peyton Manning for a game in 2023 as well. I'll lay you... I don't know what to say here. I'm going to extend the hand here to Dolly Parton, and I'm going to grant you a big deal just because.
Yeah, definitely a big deal. Sad to hear of her passing. Lived a long, full life. Impacted a lot of people. A lot of people were sad to hear of that passing yesterday. I think we played some tributes to her over on the sister station, Hank, 99.7 FM.
That's awesome.
Yeah, rest in peace, Dolly Parton.
Dolly! There's a lot of 75-year-old men who were really crushed by that news. Like, Dolly was their darling, their celebrity crush.
Yeah, I mean, there you go.
Let's face it.
I've got something interesting that came across my screen today that maybe we can talk about for a second after the break.
Ooh. That's what they call a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Right?
Tease, whatever you want to call it.
Verge your seat. You don't know what it's going to be. Hang around for it on the other side.
This segment of the Press Box is brought to you by Wichita Clear Bra, the ultimate car care and protection. Online at wichitaclearbra.com.
The Press Box on KGSO.
40 to the 30. The Birders are on.
High school football season is here. And it's time for you to pick up a copy of the High School Football Guide from the Mid-America Sports Network. Keep track of your favorite teams as they fight their way to the state championships. Find a copy of your High School Football Guide.
In Wichita, all branches of Legacy Bank, Buckley Roofing, James Meats, Auburn Spirits, Stanley Steamer, P&B Crop Insurance, and Renewal by Anderson.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Looking for a new-to-you ride? For over 70 years, customers have trusted Rusty Egg Ford with quality vehicles and exceptional service. We have 500 used cars available with 150 Ford Blue Advantage certified. From fuel-efficient cars to tough trucks and versatile SUVs, you'll find quality, value, and selection all in one place. That's peace of mind with every mile. Buy with confidence at Rusty Egg Ford. Visit rustyeggford.com. Family owned and simply the best place to buy. See dealer for details.
Need life insurance but have diabetes, high blood pressure, or on anxiety meds? If you're a 50-year-old male, even porky, or with type 2 diabetes, $1 million of life insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. For affordable term life insurance, call Term Provider and speak with Big Lou at 800-444-2013, 800-444-2013, or visit biglou.com. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. 800-444-2013.
Let's talk about the X's and O's of family entertainment. Every parent in Kansas knows the importance of being able to draw up an activity that'll get you out of the house for a couple of hours. But it needs to be affordable. It needs to be family-friendly. Above all, it needs to be fun. Now, let's talk about high school sports. Bang for your buck, school sports provide the perfect game plan for your family. You'll enjoy all of the drama and excitement competitive sports offer. You'll be supporting the future leaders of our community in a meaningful way. Best of all, you can take the entire family without breaking the bank. Heck, you won't even dent it. Now, enough chalk talk. Let's get out there and see what's playing at the high school in your community. School sports. Good for our kids, good for our community. This message presented by the Kansas State High School Activities Association and the Kansas Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
NFL, college, and high school football. It's all right here on Wichita's sports station, KGSO.
I remember certain things. What I was wearing, the yellow dashes in the street. I prayed those lights would take me home. Then I heard, hey kid, suffocate. There's a pressure in my chest. I don't wanna be here, I don't wanna be here. What's about to happen? What's about to happen? I remember certain things. What I was wearing, the yellow dashes in the street.
Just when you think this show is terrible, something wonderful happens.
What?
It ends.
Oh, look at us. Just talking betting strategy during the break. You avoid the big favorites. You just group them all up together. It's up to you guys. You gotta make your shots, make your pick, and sometimes that's what you gotta do when you see the menu at One Very Own.
Taco Tico, it's all about the taste.
We don't have the whole mix and match special going on. We don't have the 2 for $5 anymore. So maybe your choices are ever so slightly limited at Taco Tico, but they're really not, because I'm going to give you 2 choices right here, guys. The bean and cheese burrito, 2 for $3. You got the 3rd pound meat and cheese burrito for $2.79. So look, lo and behold, you do got options at Taco Tico. The whole rest of the menu is bomb. It's fire. Sasha and I can attest. So check them out. Taco Tico, where it's all about the
taste.
Tasty. Okay, you have something on the PGA golf world. I'm seeing another story as well in golf. What's up?
Yeah, I don't know if anybody saw it. I think I know your other story, which we can talk about as well. But I don't know if anybody saw this, but in 2028, the PGA is going to go to match play to determine their tour champion, which I think is a really good idea, because then there's a championship match, right? Which is what people are used to in sports. And I think people will actually get interested and excited about this. It differentiates it from the majors, right? Because no matter what you do with that final tournament of the year that determines the tour champion, nobody's ever going to consider it as big a deal as one of the 4 majors and winning that. So why not just do a totally different format and make it its own thing? And I love that. So what they're going to do is 32 golfers will make the basically the finals of the PGA Tour, and then they'll play in pools, 4 golfers in each pool. They'll play matches against each other, the other 3 in the pool. Top 2 from each pool will advance to a 16-team tournament, and then they'll play it down like the Sweet 16, 16 to 8 to 4 to 2 to 1, with match play all the way along the line, one-on-one golf. Match play is a lot of fun, right? You just that's the way they do the U.S. Amateur, and that's the way they do a lot of the state amateurs. The Kansas Amateur was that way, where it ends in match play. And one-on-one golf, it's a different mentality, and it's fun to see. They usually have like one tournament a year that's match play, I think, in the PGA. So this will be another one now.
I think it took me until maybe a couple of years ago to even realize it's like, wait a minute. They've got like a point system going on in golf. Like there's stuff that's happening aside from the majors. Cool. And so I think when you kind of outline the specifics of how you're going to designate your PGA champion, and you kind of highlighted it like the PGA champion of the overall tour doesn't necessarily carry weight compared to winning a major. And so I think if you shift around the format, you market it in different strategies, all of a sudden, you may get a lot more respect for winning the overall tour championship. And I like the format you're talking about, like a championship golf match does sound exciting, as opposed to just a random Sunday where, this guy who finished, half an hour ago and this guy who's still on hole 16, like they may have to go to a playoff, maybe they don't. Like this makes it a little bit more bona fide of a finale, which I think is good for golf. Yeah. You need those big moments, those tight moments there on hole 18. So that's great to see. I'm also seeing this in the works. Scotty Scheffler had an illness. Look, guys, they say don't put your friend's foot in your mouth. What is this disease called? He's saying hand, foot, and mouth disease. I've never heard of this in my life.
It's something you get from kids, and he has kids, so that's. But he says he's pretty much recovered now. So he was having issues with it last week at the BMW. It'd be a shame if that kept him from a tour championship.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, he's been dealing with it, and it's a viral thing, and he was pretty sick last tournament. He decided not to withdraw because he doesn't like to quit in the middle of a tournament. So hopefully he'll be 100% for the Tour Championship this weekend.
All right, I got something else. I touched about this a little bit earlier in the week, but more details are coming out. Jed York. Jed York. What is it with these NFL owners, man? I was saying the other day, look, athletes, you're on TV, kids look up to you, you're, a role model, quote unquote, if you will. You would think, owners would kind of have the same mantra just a little bit. You're representing the team that you play for. And in the owner's case, you're representing the team that everybody knows in which you own, and it's the San Francisco 49ers. That's a premier team in the NFL as far as I'm concerned. And when you're getting involved in prostitution, that's pretty gnarly. And so the question is, look, for a guy with this much money, why are you going online to find a hookup and meet her at some trailer park? This is not normal, even amongst like common men. Like I'm speechless.
It's irrational behavior, but yeah, it's disgusting, and it's not something that anyone should be doing, let alone somebody who's running an NFL franchise. But here we are.
Talk about a kink. Who knows what are in those emails? Never know. Got to dig it up. Someone will find them. Someone like Pablo Torre 20 years from now. Oh, man. All right, that's the show. It's a fun one. Watch it back on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Odd Couple. Next up, Fox Sports here in Wichita.
This is The Herd.
He is V8 Plus.
With Colin Cowherd.
Now, we know what Mendoza is based on his college career. So the Raiders so far are doing non-Raider things. And I've